Mobile internet is a must nowadays. However, in Germany, the telecommunication industry is, how do I put it? Well, intransparent, bureaucratic, and hard to navigate because everything is in German. However, in this video, we will untangle everything you need to know so you can make an informed decision of what mobile plan to get for your needs. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And I'm Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we help expats settle into Germany more smoothly. So before we jump into the video, we will clarify things like what mobile internet providers exist, and also the different options that you have for getting a mobile plan in Germany so you have internet on your smartphone. So let's jump into it. So what mobile providers exist?
So there are 3 network providers for mobile internet and telephone communication, pretty much, in Germany. That is Deutsche Telekom, Vodafone, and Telefonica, which operates with the O2 brand in Germany. And actually in that order, it's also the best network, because there is this independent test done by the magazine Connect, and they do it every year, and in that order they pretty much rate the availability, connectivity, and functionality of these 3 providers. Deutsche Telekom, one must say, used to have a monopoly in the old days in Germany, and hence has the broadest accessibility to the lines. However, in recent years, Vodafone and O2 as well have really caught up and are definitely real contenders to like the telecom reign of power.
It depends on the city that you live in, the company that you might go with. So for that, there are different websites that we will link in the description below that you can check the availability or the strongest network in your area. For example, for Berlin, surprise, surprise, the one that covers the majority of the territory is
O2.
Yeah, and that one even, we've heard from other people that you have internet while you're in the U-Bahn, like underground, and it's pretty strong, versus Vodafone and Telecom, which is not the case.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the city that you live, most likely the better network that you can have access to have to be online all the time. Okay, so those are the 3 providers. Of course, you're going to see tons of resellers and tons of other brands, I wanted to say, first of all, when you might do a comparison. Just be aware that all these other brands are actually third-party resellers. So they are based off any of these 3 networks.
And I would like to add to that, this is actually, in my opinion, what makes the telecommunication industry a little bit shady sometimes in Germany, because these third-party resellers sometimes really do offer a better deal and a better price, but oftentimes also have somewhat of hidden costs in their fine print that in the long run may hurt you more than going straight with one of the main providers and their brand.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah, so just be aware of that. So what SIM card options do we have for mobile plans? So there are 3, I would say.
Exactly. I would also say there are 3 options. One is the traditional classic phone contract, which usually ties you for 24 months. Then there is the prepaid SIM card, very popular in recent years. And then there is the kind of new best of both worlds option, and that is a flexible postpaid contract. So it's kind of like a contract, but that doesn't tie you for 24 months.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we will jump into each one individually and give the pros and cons for each one. So let's start with the classical of like phone contract. As you already mentioned, when you usually get a phone contract, you are tied for 24 months. If you want to quit this contract, you need to give a 1-month notification period. It used to be 3 months, but now it's 1 month. Oof, that's a great relief. Additional to that, it's like, why would you have a mobile phone contract? For example, I had one when I first got here because I wanted to have a brand new phone, and I couldn't afford just to pay up front for a new phone that I wanted. So that the mobile phone contract allowed me to have monthly installments on the phone, and at the same time pay my monthly fee for the internet. And obviously to receive a call, right?
Exactly, yeah. One more reason to still go with the contract, which in nowadays a lot of people say, why would I still have a contract if I have so many other often cheaper options? And that is literally if you are a junkie of high speeds. If you would like to access the new...
Go ahead, please.
If you would like to access the new 5G, the fastest mobile network that is currently really built out throughout Germany, mainly by Vodafone and Telecom. And those two companies are smart because they actually only give you access to the 5G if you are a direct customer of their services with a contract. So often or not, 5G are not available with resellers like prepaid or flexible contracts.
Yeah, although to that extent, I have a mobile phone contract and I got it when I first got here. So it's been actually like 8 years or something. And actually when I used to live in Hungary, I also had Vodafone, funnily enough, as a contract. So I've always had contracts for some reason. But I would argue that with this 5G option, I have enabled 5G on my phone. And I would say it doesn't always work, at least here in Düsseldorf, right? There are areas that are like dead zone areas. And of course, because there's this jump between 4G, 5G, 4G, 5G, 3G, whatever, then the battery drains a little bit more. That has been my personal experience. So just be aware of that also 5G has recently arrived in Germany and the infrastructure is still being built out. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
a work in progress, I would say.
Absolutely, yes.
Another reason why you might need a mobile contract is because you might get like bonuses or benefits from the company. As an example, as we already mentioned, I have a phone contract with Vodafone for my mobile internet, and we have Vodafone home internet here at home. So by having these two services, both from Vodafone, Vodafone offers what they call the Gigakombi deal. That means that we save 10 euros a month from the mobile phone contract, and I get an additional 10 gigabytes for having like these two services together. The only way you can get this Gigakombi, like the catch, is that you need to have like a Festnetz, it's called, which is like a landline, which by the way, we never use. Back in the day, your granny was the one that would call us on like our home landline until we gave her the mobile phone number.
So the landline comes with the home internet, which
Yes.
we will do a different video about.
Yes.
But you can only benefit from it if you book that with it. It's €5 extra for us, but benefit €10, so it's totally worth it.
Yeah, but not only the 10 euros that we save, but the 10 gigabytes that I
Exactly.
get extra for the
Kind of
phone.
like the most value.
Yeah, exactly. So with these three mobile network providers, how do I know which one to pick?
So Telecom still has the biggest availability. However, Vodafone offers the fastest speeds, and O2 at this moment of recording currently offers the best price value for unlimited data. If that's interesting for some of you.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting actually.
So at the end of the day, you need to compare. We will leave the links to all three providers directly in the description below. Those are partner links, so you would support the channel without paying extra for that. And you should still also compare via a typical comparison site like Check24, because there you will also have other offers, often better deals, often resellers. Just be very careful here, because there's often this kind of shady business that you will get a super cheap price for the first 6 months, but then from month 7, suddenly the price spikes, sometimes double. So they're pretty much hiding the actual cost that you will end up paying.
Yes, so just make sure to use Google Translate. That's your best friend to understand everything if German is not your strong suit yet. Oof, okay, so that was phone contracts. Okay, I think we covered everything with that, right?
Yes.
If you're liking this kind of video, please hit that like button. That is the easiest way you can support this channel. And if you are not subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, because that also helps the channel. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can always buy us a coffee, which we would appreciate greatly at coffee.com/simplegermany. Now, continuing with the program.
All right.
Second option that we have on our list is...
Second option are the prepaid SIM cards, and they're very popular because they are just amazingly cheap for what they offer, and they offer an amazing flexibility. And often this is, especially if you're first in the country, I would actually say like the go-to option if you're not sure yet what you want and how long you're going to stay and I don't know what. And here, especially in the prepaid niche, again, there are a lot of scammy resellers that, for example, if you use up your included gigabyte data volume, they will automatically put more data into your account and charge you for it without you actually wanting or needing that. So that is like a particular catch to look out for. So the actual prepaid resellers that they're all resellers, because the resellers offer the good prices, but that are safe and that are not scammy and not...
A bit more transparent, let's say.
Exactly,
Yeah.
a bit more transparent, are, for example, Lidl Connect, which actually runs on the Vodafone lines, which I used to have. I'll get into that later. Aldi Talk, the direct competitor, which runs on the O2 lines. Or Lebara, which actually uses the Telecom lines and even offers their services in English. So that is
that is
an
super
interesting
cool.
option. A bit pricier though than the other two. So for example, I used to have Lidl Connect, and I would pay €7.99 for free calls, free text, and like 3 gigabytes, which was, or still is, enough for me.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
What you should know about prepaid SIM cards is that you need to have a positive balance, right? So how it goes is that you need to put money onto your account, and then every 4 weeks, so the prices are also not per month, but every 4 weeks, or every 28 days, they will detract whatever plan you have from your account. So you always need to kind of run in a positive balance. I always had an automatic recharge, so I would never forget and suddenly not be connected anymore, but there are different options that you can choose.
So wait, so if I would, for example, if I would have a negative balance, it would be disconnected?
No, I would go to the model where I would pay for every call or every text that I would write, but and every gigabyte that I would use or megabyte. So it's not a good option.
Yeah, because that tends to be more expensive than just adding or topping up your account.
But the good part is that, for example, let's say you go to your home country and you know that you will not use your German number and the data for a month or for 2 weeks or whatsoever. You can downgrade if you would like to and pay less for that month because you're not using it.
Yeah, also a thing to point out is that you might think, oh my God, how am I going to even handle this? It sounds very complicated, but it's not, because each one of these resellers, they have their own app.
Yeah.
And I've seen you use the Lidl Connect app, for example, and it's super easy. It's very user intuitive, and it's big numbers, and you know exactly what you're doing. And
it's in German, but it's very intuitive.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Again, unfortunately, I think Lebara is the only one that actually has information in English, but everyone else, unfortunately, is just German. Why? I don't know. Okay, our third option is the postpaid
flexible contract. Exactly. And here I would actually like to point out one provider, and this one is relatively new on the market and the one that I changed to very recently. So I changed to Simon Mobile, which is the direct brand new kind of flexible brand by Vodafone. So it's not a reseller, it's just they use a different name. And they have entered the market to be more competitive for the people that don't want a mobile phone plan and want to be more flexible. So the difference here compared to prepaid is that you do have a contract. However, you can cancel it every month. So you can get out of it within, I would say, 30 days.
Yeah, okay.
And that allows you a lot of flexibility while they offer a fantastic price value, and they only have one plan. It is super easy, super simple. You get 8 gigabytes currently for either, for my case, $8.99 because I changed my number from Lidl Connect, or if you don't have a number yet, for $11.99. And that is just a very, very competitive offer that you won't get anywhere else, I would say.
Yeah, that is crazy.
At this moment of recording.
At this moment of recording. Also, in the telecommunication industry, things change super fast. So yeah, this is at the moment of recording.
Exactly. But that's just, I changed because I get more data for the same price pretty much. And I don't have to have this recharging positive balance thing anymore. And I can also pause the contract for 3 months actually, in case I also go abroad outside the EU. Because everything that we talked about, all mobile internet and phone call is available roaming across the EU.
If you're new to Europe, this is a very cool thing actually that we should mention, because roaming between the European countries is included now in your mobile plan. So that means, for example, if I would or we would travel to a different European country, we use our phone as we use it at home. And the super cool thing is that calling, let's say when we went on our road trip to Portugal, we were in Portugal for some time, calling from Portugal to Germany was as if we were calling from Germany to Germany, and calling within Portugal to other Portuguese numbers, it was as if we were calling also locally. So that is pretty cool. Obviously, if we're in Portugal and we want to call, let's say, Norway, that would not work.
That would work, but you would pay for it.
Yeah, it would obviously, the call would go through, but you would pay for it.
Yes.
So just know that roaming is free within Europe.
Exactly, yeah. Adding to that is when we say the EU, so the entire EU plus the EEA economic area is included. That it means also Norway, for example, is included, and a couple of other countries. However, and this is also a distinguishing factor between the different providers, Switzerland, for example, is only included in proper contracts by Telecom. So Telecom includes Switzerland into their roaming, which, if you intend to spend a lot of time in Switzerland, is amazing and definitely a pro Telecom. If you just want to go there for a week or so, then it doesn't matter that much, because you can book packages that include it for the other providers, but the other providers don't include Switzerland.
Yeah.
The UK, currently, most providers still include it because the Brexit is recent. However, also here, mobile plans, real contracts, have a higher chance of including it more long-term than prepaid plans, because of course prepaid plans have cheaper prices and they try to make more money out of other add-ons.
Yeah, makes sense. As an example, I used to have a coworker and she was a freelancer before she joined the company that I was at, and she would have spent a lot of time in Switzerland, and that's the reason why she had Telecom, as you mentioned. Additional to that, for example, we also had some holidays in Switzerland, and through the Vodafone contract, for example, we're able to book for like $9.99 a whole week of having, let's say, a bonus or an add-on to have Switzerland for a week, 7 days or something. So that's also definitely an option. So you don't have to worry about buying a local SIM card in Switzerland.
Of course, for speaking about EU roaming, there is a fair use policy by all providers, meaning if you are someone that is super interested in unlimited data because you might want to travel Europe, there is a catch to it, because your unlimited data is only unlimited in Germany. And the moment you cross borders within the EU, there's usually a cap to it. It's a calculation that happens, but I would say maybe it's capped by like 20 to 40 gigabytes, depending on your plan and the price you pay. That is, at the end of the day, what defines how much is included.
Yeah, definitely. Whew, that's a lot of information. I know it seems overwhelming, but anyways, we will leave all the links in the description below. As well, you can find all the links at simplegermany.com/sim-card. So there you can also have an overview of everything that we mentioned here, because we know it's a lot of info to take. So to summarize everything, Evan, please tell me, when would I need to get a contract?
So a contract makes sense for you if you would like to have 5G, if you would like to get a new phone and can't or don't want to pay it upfront, but rather pay it in monthly installments from the provider. And the third reason is to benefit from like combis or bonuses if you get your home internet and your mobile plan from the same provider.
Ah, okay. And when would I actually go for a prepaid card?
A prepaid card is amazing if you want to stay flexible, if you want to pay the cheapest price for the basic connectivity and don't care about 5G or other benefits in that sense, then a prepaid is really cool.
Yeah, and when would I get postpaid?
Postpaid is if you want the best of both worlds and the best Preis-Leistungs-Verhältnis, best money for value,
price for money. Oh, yeah, it's one of those words that you know them, but when you need to tell them in the video, you don't remember.
Yeah, and you want flexibility and literally no hassle.
Oof, okay, thanks for the summary. We have also written very detailed guides about the best SIM card providers in Germany, as well as the best unlimited card providers, as well as the best mobile network providers in Germany, which we will link in the description box below, or again at simplegermany/sim-card. If you decide to go for the mobile phone contract option, you are lucky, because recently there was a whole change of the laws in Germany regarding telecommunication and contracts that you might benefit from. We have made a whole video talking about how to understand German contracts, as well as the new benefits that you will get for getting a mobile contract, which you can check out next. Until next time, cheers!